Yesterday I buried the last person who knew me in this world. Her name was Sophie. She was 83 years old. She died and I'm still here. I'm 122 years old, sitting in this wheelchair waiting for death, but death doesn't want me. You know what Sophie told me 1 week before she died? She grabbed my hand with her cold fingers, looked into my eyes, and whispered, "Madame Roseline, you're not human. You're something else, something that even death is afraid of." My name is Roseline Martin. I was born February 21st, 1875. I've lived so long that everyone I ever loved is dead. My daughter died screaming in my arms. My husband died choking on his own blood. My grandson's body was crushed into pieces. I watched them all die and I couldn't do anything. I buried them with these hands, these same shaking hands you see now. On my 115th birthday, I had a nightmare. I was standing in a giant cemetery, thousands of graves. I walked between them reading the names. My father, my mother, my brother, my husband, my daughter, my grandson, every friend I ever had, every person I ever knew, all dead, all under the ground. And I was standing there alone in the cold asking, why am I still here? That night I understood something terrible. This long life isn't a gift. It's a punishment. It's a curse. Let me tell you how this curse began. I was 13 years old, summer of 1888. I was helping my Uncle Gerard in his fabric shop. It was a hot July day. The shop was empty. I was reading a book when suddenly the door crashed open. A man stumbled in. He looked like he was drunk or crazy or both. Short, thin, wild, red blonde hair. Thick, messy beard. His clothes were covered in paint, red, yellow, blue. He smelled horrible, like sweat and wine and something rotten. He looked around the shop with crazy eyes and said in a thick Dutch accent, "I need canvas, lots of canvas. I paint every day. I can't stop painting. The light here is burning me alive." My uncle smiled and said, "Ah, Monsieur Van Gogh, welcome back. How's the painting?" The man started talking, fast, almost shouting. The light in Provence is different from Holland. It's golden hot, violent. It makes everything burn. I'm trying to capture it, but it keeps escaping me. I paint and paint and paint, but I can never catch it. He turned and looked directly at me. His blue eyes were intense, frightening. He said, "You, girl, you have green eyes like olive trees. Let me paint you." I felt scared. I said, "No, thank you." His face changed. He looked angry, sad, desperate all at once. He said, "Nobody wants me to paint them. Everyone thinks I'm crazy. Maybe I am crazy, but I see things you don't see. I see colors that don't exist yet. I see light that hasn't been born." My uncle said, "Monsieur, she's just a child. Maybe another time." The man laughed a bitter laugh and said, "Another time? There won't be another time. Death is chasing me. I can feel him behind me every day, getting closer. I have so little time left and so much to paint." He paid for the canvas and left muttering to himself in Dutch. I asked my uncle, "Who is that crazy man?" He said, "That's Vincent Van Gogh, a Dutch painter, very talented but completely insane. People say he'll be dead within a year. 6 months later, we heard he cut off his own ear with a razor during a mental breakdown. They locked him in an asylum. 2 years after that, he walked into a field and shot himself in the chest. He died slowly bleeding out. He was 37 years old. He died poor, alone, rejected. Nobody wanted his paintings. They said they were ugly, too bright, too strange. Now 130 years later, His paintings sell for hundreds of millions of dollars. They hang in the greatest museums on earth, and I'm the last living person who ever spoke to him. The genius died at 37. The ordinary girl lived to 122. That's when I first understood that life isn't fair. Years passed. I grew up beautiful. I had green eyes and long brown hair and smooth white skin. Men stared at me in the streets. My father was very protective. He said my daughter will only marry a rich, respectable man. When I was 19, a man came to our house. His name was Laurent Duval. He was 25, handsome, wealthy. He owned a big silk shop. He wore expensive suits and carried a cane with an ivory handle. He looked like a prince. He asked my father for permission to marry me. My father said yes immediately. 1 month later, we got married in a huge ceremony, 200 guests. The church filled with white roses. I wore a silk dress with real pearls. After the wedding, we moved into a luxury apartment, 6 big rooms, crystal chandeliers, Persian carpets. We had 2 maids, a cook, and a driver. I never had to work. Laurent gave me everything, jewelry, clothes, perfumes. We went to the opera every week. I played tennis every morning. I learned sword fencing from a retired military captain. I rode my bicycle through the streets even though people said it wasn't proper for a lady. I didn't care. I was free, happy, alive. But something was missing. A child. 1 year passed, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I didn't get pregnant. I went to doctor after doctor. They all said the same thing. You're healthy. Just wait. Be patient. People started whispering behind my back. Maybe she's barren. Maybe Laurent should divorce her and find a real woman who can give him children. I cried every night. I prayed desperately. Please, God, just give me 1 child, just 1. I'll never ask for anything else. Finally, in January 1899, after 4 years of marriage, I got pregnant. The day I told Laurent, he cried. He picked me up and spun me around the room shouting, "We're going to be parents. We're going to be parents." Thank God, thank God. The pregnancy was terrible. I was sick constantly, nausea, dizziness, pain, but I didn't care. I was going to have a baby. September 29th, 1899. The labor started at midnight. It lasted 18 hours. 18 hours of screaming agony. I thought I was going to die. The pain was beyond anything human. I begged God to either give me the baby or let me die, but make it stop, make it stop. Finally, at 6 in the evening, I heard crying. The midwife put a tiny red wrinkled baby on my chest, a girl. She had blue eyes and a little bit of brown hair. She was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. I named her Celine. Laurent came into the room. His face was pale from worry. When he saw the baby, he started crying. He said, "She's perfect. Thank you, Roseline. You gave me the greatest gift in the world." Celine grew up beautiful and smart. She looked exactly like me. Green eyes, brown hair, tall and graceful. But she had her own personality, strong, independent, fearless. I taught her tennis and swimming and bicycle riding. We were more than mother and daughter. We were best friends. When Celine was 21, she fell in love with a young army officer named Olivier Lambert. He was handsome, strong, kind. They got married in a beautiful ceremony. I was so happy for her. 5 years later, in 1926, she had a baby, a boy. They named him Julian. He had blonde hair and blue eyes like his father. He was energetic, loud, always laughing. I loved him immediately. I thought, this is it. This is happiness. My daughter is happy. My grandson is healthy. My husband loves me. What more could anyone want? But happiness never lasts. Winter of 1934. Celine started coughing. Just a little cough at first. We thought it was a cold, but the cough got worse. She started having fevers every night. She lost weight rapidly. We took her to the best doctors in the city. They examined her and their faces went pale. Pneumonia, they said. Very serious, very dangerous. They put her in the hospital. They gave her every medicine they had, but nothing worked. She got worse every day. I sat by her bed day and night holding her hand. I prayed. I begged God, please don't take her. Take me instead. I'm old. She's young. She has a child. She has her whole life ahead of her. Please, God, please. But God didn't listen. February 15th, 1934, 3 a.m. Celine opened her eyes. She looked at me and smiled a weak smile. She whispered, I love you, Mama. Then she closed her eyes and stopped breathing. She was 36 years old.